Liam Hancock, 12.
And I'm Anya, and I'm 14. So, Liam, how were you introduced to Stone Soup?
I was first introduced by my aunt. She's an elementary school teacher, and she was the first person who really urged me to enter something into the magazine.
Cool. Oh, what do you think is your favorite thing about writing?
Well, I just love the feeling that you get when you finish a story, and I mean, there's just a million things I love about writing, but just the entire thing. I love everything that encompasses writing, really.
Yeah, and then you were published in the March issue of 2020 for a
Yes.
story. Um, how did you decide to submit?
Well, I'd actually submitted once before. I'd submitted a poem, but that was rejected. So it was definitely hard, gathering myself together and entering something else. But my aunt and my family were really urging me to enter another story in.
Cool. Yeah. And then how did it feel when you were accepted that time?
Well, it was an undescribable feeling. It was the first time I'd really been published anywhere. So I was definitely bragging a lot, and I think people were getting fed up with me, but it was a really great experience.
Cool. Yeah. Um, and so what was Slaying Monsters the name of your story? Was that the first one of the first short stories you've written, or was it kind of just the one that you chose to submit?
No, I don't really, I'm not great at keeping track of the stories that I write. I've been writing since I was about 7 years old, so I've definitely written others. But I think I was writing Slaying Monsters more in the mind of being published in Stone Soup.
Cool. Yeah. And then backtracking a little bit, if you don't mind my asking, what did it feel like to be rejected when you about your poem?
Well, I was definitely really disappointed, and not that I was really expecting to be accepted. I didn't really know what I was coming into, and I didn't prepare too much. And I was definitely very disappointed, as I said, but I think it gave me a lot more ambition to go back and write something even better.
Cool. And have you submitted anything after Slaying Monsters?
I've submitted to some flash contests, and I've submitted to the book writing competition both years.
Cool. Yeah. Um, what was it like to write a book both years? How did the experience differ from year to year?
Yeah, so like with the short stories and the poems that I wrote, the first year I didn't know what I was going into. I was definitely very rushed. But I had written a book once before when I was around 9 years old. And writing a book the second time, it was a magical experience. And I submitted again this year, and I worked really hard. I wrote about 3,000 words every day, and it was just an even better experience. It gets better each time.
Do you think that you've grown as a writer between the first and second time that you submitted your book?
Definitely. And I think Stone Soup had a lot to do with that.
Cool. Yeah. And then kind of jumping back to slaying monsters, what inspired the story, which is, about a boy who's surfing?
Yeah, so we'd actually just gotten surfing lessons for the first time. I wasn't much of a master at surfing, but my family does go to Half Moon Bay a lot, so that had a lot of inspiration. And I was just really trying to explore different genres of writing, and surfing kind of just popped in and I started writing.
Cool. Really cool. And then you have taken part in the writing workshop, correct? And also,
Yes.
did you do any of the summer camps? I forget.
No, I didn't.
So, about the writing workshop, then, what do you think your favorite part of the writing workshop was?
Well, I love the I love a lot of the writing workshops, but um, I definitely enjoy getting the chance to be able to teach in the writing workshop. But just the writing workshop itself, I love being able to interact with other kids who love writing.
Cool. Yeah. And then, do you think that the writing that you do just for fun is different than the writing you do in school? And how do you think that they kind of help each other, I guess?
Well, my writing in school is a lot more professional, and we don't really get a lot of creative writing opportunities in school. Um, but I feel like my writing in school kind of keeps my real grammar and, you know, factual things in check with my creative writing. And my creative writing always helps with, reading essays and things like that to make them sound a lot more professional.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We don't do a lot of
Yeah.
creative writing in school, which is kind of sad.
Yeah,
But
not nearly enough.
yeah. So I'm trying to think if I have that many more questions. I have two more questions, but those are my closing questions. So I like to
All
ask.
right.
So I think we can start to wrap it up unless there's any other thing that you want to say about your writing or about your stories or just in general, I guess.
No, I think that's about it. Yeah.
Cool. So my first last question would be, do you have any advice about writing for kids your age?
Well, a lot of kids at my school are very brutal with their own writing process. They're always saying, I'm such a terrible writer. And how do you do it? And you kind of just need to let your ideas come out, and you can't really always be going back and double checking because you'll never get anything done if you write like that. You just kind of need, it's called creative writing because you just need to be creative and not worry about grammar or anything like that.
Yeah, great advice. Thank you. And my last question, if you could tell someone about Stone Soup, what would you say?
I would say Stone Soup is a magazine that really unifies a lot of kids from all the way across the globe. Just the way they love to make art, to make writing. And even though it might be a little hard to get in on the first try, you should just keep trying. And it's a really great experience when you do.
Great, thank you. So, yeah, I guess that concludes our interview. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. It was really nice to talk to you. And
Same.
enjoy your school year, I guess, whatever form it's taking. Are you remote, hybrid, or?
We're fully remote right now.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're going to start with too.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, enjoy the rest of your weekend, I guess. And
All
peace.
right. All right. You too.
Bye.
Bye.